People go, it's cardamom ilachi or elaichi. People, how do you pronounce it?
We actually personally know him. Shiraz. No, she does not raz. Shiraz.
On this side, I have whiskey without the E. I have one with the E. And I have some whiskeys that aren't Scots.
We are going to be covering pronunciation. So, where you and I can confidently walk down the wine aisle, that is, and order our favorite wine without stuttering or sounding silly at least. So yeah, today we are covering wine types or cultivars, as you call it. And we are going to start with some of South Africa's most popular wines that you'll definitely find in your wine aisle or when you go to a restaurant or at the bar. And we are going to speak wine. So how do we speak wine? Let's start by, in my glass I have Ken Forrester Renegade. It's a blend of these three cultivars. But we're going to start with one of South Africa, or at least Cape Town's most popular white wines, Sauvignon Blanc. Sauvignon Blanc. Sauvignon Blanc. So basically you just break up the words, or if you're super lazy or you're in the third or fourth glass, just SB. I'm sure they'll know what that is. But it's very simple and it's actually quite easy to say if you say it slowly. The next one, which is my favorite cultivar, is basically like saying somebody's name. It's like saying Shannon, but you change the sh to sh, and you say Shin N Blanc. So the blanc stays the same. Shin N Blanc. Next up, our mother's favorite wines, Chardonnay. So it's like that guy Donnay that you know, but there's a Chard in the front. So Chardonnay. So now that we've covered the white wines, let's go on to some of our favorite red wine cultivars. And this one is quite popular. I mean, I was speaking to G and he's probably going to kill me if I'm calling him out, but this is his favorite red wine, and for crying out loud, he would literally break it up and demolish the word. Cabernet Sauvignon Blanc. So the Blanc is gone now because that's a white wine. So now it's Cabernet Sauvignon. Sauvignon. Isn't that just fancy as fuck? Listen, you cannot go anywhere without people ordering Merlot. No guys, it's not Merlot or Merlotto. It's Merlot. Merlot. How low? Merlot. So yeah. The next one we are covering, I know you're thinking this is like a fucking joke, but these are important words that you have to learn so that when you order confidently, and the more you say it while you drink, well, maybe it's not going to work. But yeah, practice makes perfect. Obviously, as South Africans, we have our very own cultivar, which I am for certainly proud of. But can you say it properly? Pinotage. All I hear is Pinotage. No, guys, it's Pinotage. Like, yeah, Pinotage. I was going to say that. After Pinotage, quite popular cultivar from the Hemel en Aarde or Hermanus area, and that is Pinot Noir. Now, you cannot say it without sounding super fancy because it just rolls off the tongue. It's Pinot, but with a Noir. Pinot Noir. And then this guy that we all know from around the corner, or we actually personally know him, Shiraz. No, she does not raz, but Shiraz. Shiraz. And if you are in another place, you might just hear them say Syrah, which is even sexier. So Shiraz, Shira, not Shiraz. It really does not bode well when ordering a glass of wine. So I've obviously come across a few wines or cultivars that are super difficult to pronounce, and then I am at a loss for words because I'm like, how do you say this? I think one of it is right here, Mo Vedre. Like, I for the longest time could not get to grips with this, and I would just like, you know what, I just want that with the Mo. Can I just have that? Fortunately, it's very few wines that actually come single cultivar, which means these are normally blended together, so it's very seldom that you would get this one on its own. So one grape variety that I recently read about, or that a friend introduced me to, was Buketrop. I think it's a German cultivar, almost distinct, if you want to call it. I think there's only 77 hectares left across the world. Don't quote me on that, I could be wrong, rather just Google it. But Buketrop is like, how, guys, from South Africa, we are supposed to say these words. I cannot. I just can't. My other favorite wine that I absolutely love, and it took me forever to get to grips with the word, is, I think this is also German, Gewürztraminer. Now, can you say that? So short, it would be Gewürz, and this is actually the most delicious wine. It's fragrant, it's floral, it's got lilac-y tones. It goes so well with soft cheeses. But for the life of me, when I want to order a bottle or a glass, I'm left with my tongue tied. So that's it from me on pronunciation. If there is a wine that you've come across that you are struggling to say the name, please hit us up in the comment section or send me a message on Twitter, Instagram. I mean, today we only covered a few of the cultivars. There are so many. And then living in South Africa, we obviously have our own problems, for the lack of a better word, just by saying some of the estate names, and half of them are probably in Afrikaans, which we will definitely cover in another episode. For now, cheers and enjoy.
Oh my gosh, I'm learning so much from all this. I'm definitely now ordering wine much more confidently after that. Thank you very much, Alvina, at Through My Wine Glass. You know where she's at. Cool. So let's get to the whiskey. Cool. So we're not going to get into the debate of E and no E on the whiskey. All you need to know about that is it's just old. It's a bunch of people who are just like, hey, we're Irish and we're making more whiskey than anyone else in that time, way back when. And they decided that, oh, wait, hey, we're going to differentiate ourselves from the Scots, you know. So I've put together a little showcase, per se. On this side, I have whiskey without the E. I have one with the E. And I have some whiskeys that aren't Scots. We'll start off with the Macallan. So you gotta go Macallan. There we go, Macallan. Ben Riach. Put some G's at the end of the, ignore the CH. Put some G's at the end of it. Woodford, Kamiki, and a Paul John. Cool. So for us to go shopping, I think in the beginning, as you build your collection, you want to try out some new stuff. Generally, I don't really go by price. I don't really do price. I do more region and age. So the 16-year-old Ben Riach, a 12-year-old Macallan, and a Woodford. So Woodford, whiskey with the E, it's American, it's a bourbon. The character of the bourbon is totally different to the character of the Scotch whiskey. Generally, because there's rules to what makes up a Scotch whiskey, what makes up a bourbon whiskey. The Japanese have their own thing going on as well. This is actually a blend of Japanese whiskey. The Paul John is a single malt as well, but it's not made in Scotland. It's made in India. Very lovely character. I mean, it's spicy. It's, oh my God, before we even get there. So now you know all your whiskeys from different kind of regions. There's definitely a lot more out there. I mean, I'm talking, you could fill up a football stadium just full of different kind of whiskeys from all over the world. The Canadian whiskey, French whiskey, made in South Africa whiskey. So this is just a few. These are kind of like the ones at the moment. These are the ones I like. From Scotland, I'm definitely a big fan of the aged Speyside whiskies, Highland, and bourbon, of course. I love the Woodford bourbon. The other one is Wild Turkey, really great one. Kamiki, the Japanese stuff I find is really pricey, but once in a while, you do want to spoil yourself and go shopping for one of those. And a Paul John, cool. So let's go shopping. go shop what you need to get, do what you like, maybe drop some comments, ask me what you're trying to get. Is it a gift for someone? And I'll do my best to kind of work with you on what do they like taste-wise, and that way we can kind of drill down to the whiskey you're going shopping for. And in the next episode, we start the tasting. So it's been a journey. We went from the pilot being the introduction, took a break for Valentine's, and the last episode we then continued with our journey, which was let's go shopping for some glasses, our sniffers in whiskey and in wine, your wine glasses, and your right spice tools. Okay, so see you in the next episode.
Growing up of Indian descent and in Indian community, names of spices are, spices are called different things, not because they want to be called different things, but just it's because spices are worldwide. It's an international thing. So its name varies country to country or culture to culture, and sometimes that can cause a bit of confusion when you're not very accustomed to using spices and you're wanting to use it, but you're just not sure, is it cumin or is it jeera? Which is correct? Which is the right thing? Is it a different spice? Is it the same thing? So I'm going to touch on a few spices today, touch on the names, and then also how you identify them in terms of their actual visual profile. So that when you're starting your journey, or if you're already using spices and you're a little bit uncertain, it just brings a bit more clarity to what you're buying and how you're using it. The first one I'm going to do is cumin. Cumin is it's a derivative of its scientific name, but it's also called jeera. So it's the same spice. Jeera is Hindi. So jeera just in Hindi means cumin. As much as I've been using spices for more than a decade, you constantly am learning, and that's the beauty of, I think, cooking also, is that it's such an evolution. Cardamom is green by nature, but you often find that if you go to a store, you find white cardamom. So white cardamom is actually a bleached version of green cardamom, and it's actually by that process, it weakens the aroma and it weakens the flavor of the spice. And the only reason it's been done that way is just for aesthetics. So if you're going out and you or buying cardamom, or you're wanting to use it, go for the green, because that's much better. People go, is cardamom ilachi or ilaichi? People, how do you pronounce it? You go to a store to buy it. What is it called? Is it called cardamom? Is it called ilachi? Same thing. It's same spice. Ilachi is Gujarati, so it's just another Indian language. It's another region of India. And like I said in the beginning, because spices are international, it's called different things. Depends on where you go. Turmeric. I say turmeric. People say turmeric. And then 15 years ago, when we moved to Cape Town, my family and I moved to Cape Town, only then did I learn that it's also called bori. I don't know if I'm saying it correctly, but that's Afrikaans for turmeric. So cooking is, like I said, is an evolution, but it's also a bit of an education where we're wanting to understand what we're cooking. And by understanding what we're using, we then apply it in a better way, which means that you get a slightly more perfect dish than you intended on. In terms of image and visual profile of spices, some spices, can, they look very, very similar. I'm going to show you. So I'm going to put it into my hand. This is cumin. And then this is caraway. So visually, it looks virtually identical. So if you're out shopping, or if you sort of looking at it, as it's shown here, it's sort of in jars or in a plate, it looks very, very similar. If you ever have the opportunity, get both and test it out. Sniff it, chew it, roast it, and you'll see that they're very different spices. They look similar. They come from a similar family. It's harvested in a similar way, both fruits of a plant, but again, different spices. Often you often people go, oh, I bought cinnamon and it looks like this. But actually this is cassia. You wouldn't actually find cinnamon looking like this because it's too thin and it's actually a lot more barky or a lot more woody to actually look like this or to be rolled like this. Cinnamon looks like this. It's a lot thinner. It's more fragile. Look, it's so soft. But if I try to do that with cassia, I'm so scared it's going to break in my face. So it's a lot more woody. It's hard and it's more difficult to snap. Again, very different flavor profiles. Same sort of flavor compound, but what you get out of it is slightly different. Cassia has a lot more. The flavor is a lot more intense, much sweeter, whereas cinnamon has a slight citrus note to it, and again looks different. Also easier to grind. Cinnamon's a lot easier to grind. This is dried bay leaf, and this is fresh curry leaf. Dried bay leaf and fresh bay leaf flavor profiles are very, very different, and they also look different. So the fresh bay leaf would look, unfortunately I don't have some at the moment, but would look a similar color but a more solid green, and this is a fresh curry leaf. This has a slightly more woody, thicker stem, and curry leaf is thinner, it's softer, it's more tender. And dried curry leaf, and I don't know whether many people know this or whether they've tried it, but it's a bit useless. You don't really get much flavor from it. You don't get much fragrance from it. It doesn't impart any oils or anything like that. So it would be best to get fresh. Bay leaf similar, but the flavor profiles from fresh bay leaf differs to dried. Dried is also fine. But try it out. Go get some fresh curry leaf and get dried curry leaf. Get fresh bay leaf and get dried bay leaf. And that leads me to the next thing, which is, where do you get your spices? I swear by Atlas Trading because I get absolutely every single thing there. And because you don't want to buy spices unnecessarily, or you don't want to, have spices sitting in your cupboard for too long. We spoke about the shelf life of spices last week. Try and get it in small batches, and then start grinding and experimenting and cooking with them and seeing the difference between what you used to do to what you know now. Atlas Trading, if you go online, Granadilla Eats has spices, Buy Fresh, I think, and there are various others. I mean, because I only go to Atlas, I don't know many other spice shops because it's sort of a one-stop shop for me. But the nice thing is that they're also online. So I think try them out and let me know what you think. Let me know how it goes. Let me know what spices you stumble upon or find something new or rediscover something that you've had sitting in your cupboard for a long, long time but wasn't sure how to use it.